Hello, family and friends. How are you today? Welcome to 196 Days Around the World of Family Life. I landed in the country of Bolivia yesterday. So today we look at inside Bolivian family life. What is it about this country? Bolivia is a country in the central South America with a very terrain spanning under mountains, the Atacama Desert and the Amazon Basin rainforest. At about 3,500 meters, its administrative capital, La Paz, sits on the Andes Altiplano Plateau with snow-capped Mount Illimani in the background. Nearby is Glassmouth Lake Titicaca, the continent's largest lake, straddling the border with Peru. The sense of nationhood and national identity is shared by all Bolivians, but given the historical disenfranchisement of the peasant majority, probably is of the recent origin. Most authors point to the wars of the Pacific and Caco and the 1952 populist revolution, along with the subsequent state building efforts, as the key events that created a sense of nationhood. A strong feeling of national identity coexists with other identities, some ethnic and some not, with varying levels of inclusiveness. Now, if you want to work in Bolivia as a family life professional or practitioner, what do you need to know? One, family is king in Bolivia. The family is the axis of the social life and structure. Families are very tight knit, so your profession is actually needed. And in rural areas, many generations still often live together in one house. The extended family or the familia serve as a strong support and network system. Roles within the family are very traditional. Machismo is very much alive, which is a system wherein the man dominates, right? Roles within the families, the wife is generally responsible for domestic duties, whereas the husband will be the breadwinner. The machismo mentality often translates into a feeling of male superiority and a strong sense of honor, which means maintaining face and dignity at all costs, even when they cannot provide leadership. The basic urban and rural domestic unit is the household, single family, nuclear, husband, wife, and children, or extended. Bolivians attach importance to bilateral kingship, the tracing of king links through both the father and the mother, and household often include different sets of group of kinsmen, right? So you need to understand this about the Bolivian family. I'm sure in your work around the world you would have been used to this, that many countries still practice the male as the dominant figure, and it's not totally different in Bolivia. Number two, there's the class system, an institutionalized class system of unequal access to political, economic, and social cultural resources, a direct outcome of the Spanish context of cultural and physically distinct and the society, and is closely wedded to the nation's ethnic and cultural makeup. Right. So they have their roots in the bed of the Spanish colonization. So there is a class culture, which include ethnicity and language, and the race, physical and character overlap, solidify and mark social hierarchy. So class boundaries are permeable, but the sharing of the Andean culture heritage is an important prerequisite for social mobility. At the bottom of the hierarchy, when it comes to class, are peasants, unskilled workers, and those in informal and economic sector who live in urban periphery. So you find a lot of black skinned people in there, dark skinned people in there. Members of the second broad, the intermediate category, are labeled mestizos, that is colors, a disparaging term, or non-indigents. You find them that the non-indigents who have come to work, they're basically professionals. But you see, at the apex of the social hierarchy is a small white affluent elite class, collectively referred to as decent people, right? Gente decente, by peasants, who also address men of this category as gentlemen, caballero, and women as madame, senora, right? So you can see there's a small group of white skinned people, light skinned people that are regarded as, decent people. The person I want to call them that. So you need to understand the social classes in your work with them. So if you really, really want to earn good, you need to work with the upper class because they have a lot of money to pay, or the middle class. The person literally have nothing to pay. You have to do it as a serious CSR or corporate social responsibility. Number three, there's a pseudo-gender complementarity, which means important positions of public authority are invariably held by men, while domestic arena, symbolically associated with fire, kitchen, and earth, is a female realm. Most ritual specialists, diviners, and healers are male, In agriculture, a female division of labor leads to men and women participating in all planting and harvest tasks. That is complementarity in this. Women predominate as they have since colonial times in the marketing of crops and reproducing traditional and ethnic identity through weaving, transmitting the native language to their offspring, and the repertoire of songs. So their women sing a lot. I mean, it's very, very similar to West African culture. The idea of a necessary union of opposites and of crucial role of women and men in human and social production is the hallmark of Bolivian and Andean society, and surfaces in the many symbolic domains, such as the presence of male and female supernatural deities. The high status of men is bolstered in many rural communities by matrilineal ideology and inheritance, matricane groups, and access to resource independence of male spouse. Number four, the marriage is a rite of passage in Bolivia. Marriage, a fundamental rite of passage and a marker of adult status, often is linked to the formation of new households and expected of all Bolivians. The typical Andean marriage pattern, customary in the highlands and the Orient, but often frowned on by members of the elite, entails three highly ritualized steps. One, an initiation period of cohabitation, which is called jotandos, lasting up to 3 years, in which the spouse set up a household and began to bear children. Then you have a civil wedding, which is next, and a religious wedding, followed by a 2 to 3 day traditional celebration. Although there are polygamous marriages in some Orient ethnic groups, monogamy is the norm. Marriage expands alliances and network of kin and generates obligation and reciprocity between the kin group, including godparents and other fictive kin of both spouses. So you understand the marital system in there and the three-way marital system. So if you're a very religious practitioner and you get in there and you now see the cohabitation, you might be a culture shock and you're wondering what is going on here, but that is the way these people are. So you need to respect their culture and work with them, because the most important thing is making their families work. Number five is the kinship reigns. Now, Bolivians stress bilateral kinship and virtually all recognize and stress kin groups beyond the nuclear family and household. Ritual kinship such as godparenthood is extremely important. In urban and rural areas, family often refers to as bilateral kin group, kindred, or the third cousin range, patrilineally related kin groups, the members of which share an identical paternal surname, sometimes called castas or castes, are important in many rural villages. As they sometimes jointly manage and cultivate land, members of southern island ethnic polities, such as the Maka, the Jukumani, the Sakaka, are organized in inclusive kin-based groups and category called allos. Now, you need to understand that if you want to influence these people, if you isolate a kin group and educate them and bypass their consciousness to transform them, they will literally transform the entire space. So this is how it works, and this is one of the tricks you can use. Then number six, when it comes to community parenting and gender-based violence, infants and children are often raised by parents or other close kin. So it's like community parenting, basically. Adoption and fosterage are widely practiced. Children are taught early to contribute to the household economy and learn adult responsibility. It is common for rural children to pasture flocks of sheep and help their parents and kin plant and harvest crops. In urban areas, children often help their mothers sell goods in marketplace. Children are taught the importance of respect. It's called respeto for family, kin, and adults. Education is highly valued. According to recent studies, however, Bolivian has the highest domestic violence rate in the region, right? With some 7 in 10 women saying they have been victim of some form of violence, which includes physical and psychological during their lives. So it's not impossible for you to meet man beat his wife in Bolivia, right? Especially in the rural areas. So it's a country in need of help when it comes to gender-based violence. But let me tell you, amazing country, about 93% Catholics, right? So if you walk through the Catholic system, through the Reverend Fathers, you might be able to get access to a number of people. And you see, through religion, especially their local religion, you can totally transform them. So you need to use what they are used to instruct them on self-respect, on how they can work together as a team, and how they can transform their reality by building an effective family system. But there's a course that can help you achieve that. If you go to school.iamprinceway.com, you can take the Family Systems Engineering Certification Program, and that will totally equip you to work across different culture. What can you do to assist Bolivia today? Well, I am praised for where you can go on IG and follow me, the Family Life Therapist. I really, really honor you and I celebrate you. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, I will land in another nation and I'll be bringing you tips from those nations. I celebrate you. Bye bye.